The federal government is set to invest 100 billion naira in a groundbreaking initiative to revolutionize mass transit and transportation across Nigeria. The Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative announced the allocation on Wednesday, emphasizing its commitment to fostering a sustainable and economical future for the country. The initiative aims to leverage 11,500 CNG and electric-fueled vehicles while deploying 55,000 conversion kits to reduce transportation costs and alleviate the economic strain on Nigerians. The funds will facilitate the deployment of compressed natural gas buses, promote the adoption of auto gas, and encourage electric vehicles. The steering committee, led by FIRS Chairman Jegede, assured the public of progress, citing achievements such as strategic partnerships and ongoing CNG conversion center commissioning. This initiative signifies a significant step towards a more environmentally friendly and cost-efficient transportation system. To learn a little more about this, I'm joined by Associate Director, Energy and Natural Resources Unit, Tax Regulatory and People Services, KPMG in Nigeria, Aminat Jegede. Aminat, thank you for speaking with us. In what ways can the deployment of CNG buses positively affect the accessibility and affordability of transportation services for the general population?
Okay, thank you so much for having me and good evening. So I think that, the deployment of CNG buses would actually impact Nigerian populace in more positive ways than one. And the first one that comes to mind is the increase in disposable income, because an average Nigerian at the moment is actually spending a lot more than they had planned on, fueling their cars. I also think that as much as possible, there would be increased productivity. Productivity in the sense that the mass transit buses will actually be able to move more people from point A to point B. And I must say that one of the things we've noticed with the removal of subsidy is actually that our headline inflation rate has been going, it's been increasing. At the moment, we're currently close to about 28%. So what you find is perhaps even the introduction of these CNG buses might actually increase life expectancy. And why do I say that? But the expectation is that if you have cheaper, affordable, and reliable mass transit transportation system, then chances are a lot more people will be comfortable leaving their cars at home and taking those, transport systems. That will reduce the pressure of the number of cars on the road. That would also improve people's life expectancy in the sense that they won't spend as much time as they would in traffic. Take Lagos, for example. But I would say it's a laudable development, especially as, some state governments has already started doing the same thing.
All right, that's plenty of money, some would say, in this economy, and we would want to reflect that in the lives of the people. Can the plan to deploy 55,000 conversion kits significantly impact the cost effectiveness of transitioning to CNG and electric vehicles, not just for the government, but for individual users?
Okay, so I guess the word we should hold on to there is the word significance, because we're looking at deploying just about 55,000 kits. The last time I checked, Nigeria alone has over 11.8 million vehicles. So the question is, what percentage of conversion will these 55,000 kits be able to account for? But that being said, I think, like they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So at the end of the day, let's start from somewhere, right? The question is, and I think it wasn't clear in the FGN's report whether those kits will be given free of charge or there would be a token that each individual would pay for it. Because one of the challenges that people have identified with converting their engines from gasoline to CNG is actually the cost, the initial conversion cost. So 55,000, it seems like a minuscule amount when you compare it with 11.8 million vehicle users, but it's a step in the right direction, because this CNG deployment, we've been hearing about this since 2020, and this is 2023, 3 years after. and we're still talking about deployment. So the question is, let's even start. Let the people that are going to, start using CNG or going to convert, start the process so that they can be examples for others on the cost savings that are applicable when you convert from gasoline to CNG.
I mean, you touched on something that a lot of Nigerians are concerned about, and that's the delay, the trust deficit between the people and the government, and you're hearing 100 billion. How do you think accountability will be addressed in this instance so that Nigerians can see what is being done, not only on paper, but in reality?
One of the issues that we have had in Nigeria as a country is the issue of transparency and accountability, right? And over the years, the government has been taking some steps to reduce that trust deficit. But like you have mentioned, right now, everybody can see the buses that have been deployed. The idea is once these kits are being deployed, or once the amount is being deployed to certain companies who are going to facilitate the deployment of the CNG kits, then there has to be transparency about it. I mean, the news was agog recently about the probe that the Senate is currently doing regarding the CBN intervention fund of 250 billion, right? Wherein some companies were awarded or given these grants, and the Senate has invited them to come and demonstrate what that money has been used for. So something similar would need to be done in this regard, i.e., perhaps the government can consider putting together a website or some information portal where people can easily go and can track, the state of this amount. I mean, for me, the major issue I even have will be the question of how will the government even fund this 100 billion that has been earmarked for CNG deployment, especially with the huge budget fiscal deficit that we have as currently.
Good question. I mean, a lot of persons will want to find answers to that. I'm sure we'll be coming back to you in the coming days. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.